But because shift work sleep disorder is such a prevalent thing amongst individuals who do shift work, I figured we could start off with that and then wrap it up with some recommendations for like, look, even if you don't have that, here's what we think you should do. So, all right, let's talk about some sleep stuff. First off, we have this innate circadian rhythm that controls many physiological processes that also have rhythmic changes throughout the day. So, for example, your body temperature as a rhythmic sort of cycle throughout the day. Your cortisol levels, they tend to peak in the morning and decrease later on. Testosterone, as you guys know, other endocrine sort of functions. Melatonin production and release, it kind of has the opposite of cortisol. It's lower in the morning, higher in the evenings. There's a lot of rhythms here, circadian that are sort of governed by this sort of central circadian rhythm. In general, the circadian system drives wakefulness across the quote unquote usual wake period to offset the progressive increase in sleepiness that's mediated by this sort of sleep homeostat. You can think about that as like your thermostat at your house, for example. It's just trying to regulate things. And so you have sleep drive that is accumulating throughout the day, and you're trying to combat that with enough wakefulness to make it to the appropriate bedtime. And now to maintain alignment with the environmental day, which is a 24-hour day on our current setup, the endogenous circadian system must adjust each day to cues. The strongest one being the light dark cycle. So the sun, for example. Other factors are food, so meal times, other activity, social cues, stuff like that. But the strongest one is this light dark cycle. So there are other environmental factors that can sort of change the circadian rhythm or at least make a mismatch between the environment and your innate circadian rhythm. So long distance travel, particularly by airplane, you go across many different time zones, for example, shift work, which that's what we're talking about here, and other circumstances or behaviors that again decouple this sort of sleep wake schedule and your intrinsic circadian rhythm. So shift work is just an example of environmental misalignment. Under usual circumstances, when people work during the day, individuals go to bed when their sleep drive is high and their circadian rhythm for or circadian signal for alertness is low. Perfect match. But people who work night shift, for example, often attempt to sleep during the day when endogenous rhythms are promoting alertness. So they tend to get less sleep total, depending on which particular industry they're in. They tend to sleep less, and the quality of their sleep is also less. And so that leads to predictable outcomes: excessive sleepiness, poor performance at work, driving home from work. There's an increase in accident risk, for example, and a lower quality of life overall. So I don't know if this individual is talking about, oh, I actually have diagnosed sleep work or shift work sleep disorder, or if they're like, look, I know that there's some issues here. Like, how do I make this better? So let's just assume that he does have shift work sleep disorder. So what do you do about that?